let's build a snowman. Why don't we? I'm going to use some Crayola air dry clay. I've got a couple of acrylic paints. These are inexpensive paints I just picked up at the Dollar Tree. So, you know, whatever paint you happen to have in stock. I just picked out a bright orange, and I need a black. I'm going to need some glue. I use Gorilla Glue, but a lot of crafters like the E6000 glue. So whatever you happen to have on hand. The Folk Art Home Decor Chalk. I have got a ribbon that I'm going to use for embellishment, along with some little red berries, some leaves, some buttons that we will think about using. Various sizes of cans that I'm going to use to create, to create my snowman. So I have 3 sizes for the actual snowman. Then I have a small 6-ounce can with a larger lid. I guess this lid probably came off one of these, maybe. That we are going to use to make a hat for our snowman. The other thing that I'm going to need is some Goo Gone, because this can I have not prepped at all, so I'm going to need to prep this can. These other cans, normally whenever I'm saving cans to use for tin can type projects, I go ahead and get them cleaned up really well and put a coat of chalk paint over them, just so that they are ready to go whenever I'm ready to go, and I don't have to spend a lot of time doing that prep work. But I didn't have one for a cap, so we're going to have to get that one ready today. Let's get started. So this is the head for my snowman. For this snowman, this is a 6-ounce can that I'm using, and we are going to use this Crayola air dry clay to create rocks and a carrot for our eyes and our nose for our little guy. So I've got the can here just so I can make sure that I'm getting the sizes, that I'm sizing my elements correctly. These don't have to be perfect by any means. You know, they're supposed to resemble like a rock that you would pick up to or a piece of coal, you know, that you would be using to make your snowman's eyes. And so how is that? You think that that's a pretty good size for eyes? One of my eyes is bigger than the other, but that is how it would be with a real snowman, so that does not bother me at all. Now let's make some little rocks to create what's going to be our mouth. Here we go. So now let's make a little carrot for our snow person. Let's get a little bit of our clay pinched out here. And you know, carrots carrots are the weirdest shape, so it's not like you really have to, the biggest thing is to remember a carrot goes from big to small. So the biggest thing you want to do is that the top is bigger than the bottom. The other thing, you might just flatten out so that whenever this dries, it will be ready to glue on for our snowman. So those are our clay components that we are going to set aside and let them dry for 24 hours. So all of my cans are prepped except for this guy. So to start prepping, I will take a little Goo Gone. Or you can use your best method for getting off the extra glue that doesn't come off whenever you wash your cans. Whatever works for you. We are going to speed this up so that you don't get bored just sitting here watching me get this off. It is something that does take a little bit of patience to get the glue off, and I find if you scratch it and get that Goo Gone in within those layers of glue, that it will help. Alright, so we have got the adhesive off of the can. We are just going to wash this in a mild detergent just to get the can cleaned off really well and to get that goo gone off of there. And we will then continue with the next steps. So we have our Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint. This project should be relatively easy because I have already started priming these with the same chalk paint. So part of this is just going to entail putting another couple of coats, maybe one more coat of chalk paint over this, and a coat of chalk paint over this, but then these two pieces will be painted black. So let's get started painting our other pieces. We're going to start with this one because this one can be drying while I'm getting the coats of paint on the other pieces. It doesn't have to be neat. We're just priming it is all we're doing. So just get a nice coat of paint on there. Cover up the shine from that can. I did just get back. I had the opportunity to take a class over at the John C. Campbell Folk Art School recently, and I was taking a pottery class, but they did have a tin class, and that class was working with recyclable cans, but they were repurposing them into all these sweet pieces of art. Some of them were, one was made into a camera, which looked absolutely amazing. Excuse me. There were flowers. They made flowers out of these tin cans. They're certainly far beyond what I'm doing here today, but beautiful little canisters to hold flowers in, just, I don't know, all kinds of things. I wish I had taken some pictures to share with you as we're working through this project. So let's just set this guy over to the side and let him dry. Let's go ahead and get a coat on this. We'll just do one side at a time. Now let's start working on our snowman a little more. I want the snowman to look a little more vintage. So what we will be doing is putting a coat of paint, and then we will go back and scuff him up a little bit for that tin to show back through. My cans are dry. I am going to add a second coat to these. If I had put it on, if I'd put that chalk paint on thick enough, I probably wouldn't even need a second coat, but I feel like I do need a second coat. For the top hat, I have primed this, and I am just going to prime the other side, and we will set those to the side until we are ready to paint those. So let's get started. As we continue to work our way through this project, I have decided to change one thing up. I will be painting the base of my top hat using just the black paint, but I have this material that I think I'm going to use some Mod Podge and use this actual material for the main part of the hat. So sorry to change that up on you, but I think that that will be an interesting addition to our vintage looking snowman. So let's keep going. Oops, that may be just a tad too much. So I did cut this material at about 7, 7.5, 4 1/4 for this 6 6-ounce can. I do want enough to go over both rims. So let's just grab some Mod Podge by Plaid, the fabric version. I just happen to have that in stock, so I'm going to use that. Here is my official Mod Podge brush. It's not an official Mod Podge brush. I need to purchase one of those, but it is the one that I only use for these types of projects. So let's just get started gluing this fabric down. So my first concern as far as gluing this is going to be getting it around the main part of the can, and then I will go back and fold in the part that's going to wrap around the edges last. So let's get that started. Let me get my Kathy Fillion tip of the day bean stabilizer over here. Best tip ever if you like working with cans. It just gives you a place to keep your can from rolling around. I'm just using my fingers to smooth this out. The glue will come through somewhat. I don't really know what it's going to look like when it dries, because fabric Mod Podge does have a tendency to be very shiny, so we will adjust that shininess as necessary after this piece dries. Just continue to work that in. Wrong end. Okay. So we have cut out a circle of fabric to put on the top of our hat. So let's go ahead and Mod Podge that on as well. Okay, so we have the top of our hat. There we go. That's looking good. And let's finish painting. We probably need one more coat. On the top and then a coat on the bottom. So you have to be careful when you're working with this black paint to make sure that you don't get it on your snowman. So you may just want to make sure that these guys are out of the way. There we go. Just put that right there to dry again. Just going to wipe off my fingers. Let's see where we're at now. So for these guys, the only thing I have left to do to them is to, I'm going to take either a file, a fingernail file, or some sandpaper, and just kind of rough in these pieces to give them the look that I'm going for. And then we need to wait for our noses and our eyes and our mouth to dry so that we can get those painted. And we need to wait for this guy to dry. So let's just take a break. So everything is dry, so we can continue on. I painted the lid. I put fabric over the top hat piece, but when I place them together, I don't know if you can see the color difference, but it's quite different. So we are having a change of plans. We are going to cut another piece of material and use Mod Podge to fix this hat so that it looks like everything matches well. So let's go ahead and do that. For this, I'm just going to rough cut around this. go. And we are going to use Mod Podge to attach this Mod Podge fabric and then finish it around the bottom. So, I don't know if you can see really, you can see where I've kind of roughed these up just a little bit, not a whole lot. So I did that to all 3 of these cans. And an interesting effect that happened that I had not planned on, but made me think of something that I might do a little differently the next time, was the file that I was using was blue, and I do not know if you can, you see the blue, where the blue, it picked up the blue on that, which I love because it's a snowman, and you know, you think of blue when you think of cold, so I'm pretty happy with that effect. But it got me to thinking that if I did another one of these, what I would probably do is I would use, I have a light blue folk art chalk paint, and maybe I would put the light blue underneath and then do the white on top and continue to bring that blue through versus that silver, although silver works really well whenever you think about snowman also. So this one is great, but I might try that the next time. So this is dry and this is dry, and I am going to go ahead and add more fabric Mod Podge to pull this fabric around this can top. But first, let's just cut a little bit of that off, a little bit of that excess, because we certainly don't need that much around. So let's cut, oops, let's cut some excess fabric off here. Doesn't have to be perfect, because at the end of the day it is going to be covered and nobody is going to see it. You're going to hide it. So there we go. Let's just put that to the side. Let's get our fabric Mod Podge, and let's see if we can get this completed. Oops, there we go. And let's just, I'm going to put it on my fabric, a little bit of the Mod Podge on my fabric, as well as the top of the can. Good, 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 good. Good, good, good. Let's keep going. Okay, let's just start folding this over. I'm going to use my fingers. You could use your paintbrush. You know, sometimes it's just about getting your hands dirty and getting in there with it. So let's fold all of this over and just keep coming around. There we go. See how nice that is taking hold? Yep. And there we are. So we've got all that down, but just to secure that a little bit more, we're going to come back in here to some of these little edge pieces, and we will put a coat on there to adhere that just a little better. Here we go. Okay, easy peasy. So next, let's set this to the side to dry. Then I have got some ribbon I'm going to use to go around the neck of my snowman and around his hat. Now, I love all of this shiny stuff. My husband hates Hates glitter. So what we're going to do, because this glitter is just coming off everywhere, we are going to take and we're going to try to seal that down a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge on here as well to try to get that glitter to stay in place a little bit better, so that once this is put together, we do not have that problem any longer. Now, my assumption at this point in time is Mod Podge fabric is shiny, that my glitter is still going to be fine. So I'm going to lay that to the side to dry. Let me get, oh, that's not the piece I was looking for. This is the piece I'm looking for. And let's just do the same thing on this one. And we will just take care of that little problem so that no one can fuss about the glitter coming off at a later date. If you can see my workspace, you may be able to see that there is glitter all over the place. Just where I was cutting the ribbon. Cutting the ribbon for this project. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to lay this over to the side also to dry. While we're waiting for all of these other things to dry, we are also going to take our air dry clay that we molded for eyes and a nose, and we are going to just get these painted up. I have taken some Gorilla Glue, clear Gorilla Glue that I use. You could use the E6000, I think, which a lot of crafters use. And I have applied it on the cap of my snowman. Now this is going to need some weight, and it's going to need to cure. So I am just going to put whatever I have on hand. I happen to have some stone tiles that I found in my husband's, in the garage, in our stash. And I'm going to put those on top of there to add a little weight so that can continue to cure. As soon as this cures, we are going to start putting everything together. And so I look forward to getting back to this project, and we will get it finished up. So here is our hat that is now dry. We used the Gorilla Glue, and we can start assembling this guy. So for the eyes and the nose and the all of these little parts and pieces for his face, I'm actually just going to use my glue gun. Let's just look for what we think is the best side to work with, and actually all of them look really good. I just have, there's a little dent in this can. But other than that, I think everything else looks really great. So let's bring our stabilizer back over. Here we are. And for the head, we are just going to put his little face on here. Just kind of line up where we want everything to go. Ah, he's looking so cute already. And then we'll start there. Let's go ahead and get his eyes glued on. Let's make sure our glue is nice and hot. Okay, there's one. Whoops. Whoopsie. Okay, put you back up there. There we go. I just tilted over all of my little pieces to use for my cool mouth. So before we worry about that, let's go ahead and put our little carrot nose on here. And now we will, oh, that didn't work out too well. You know, this may have been a job for Gorilla Glue as well. Let's see. Make sure my eyes feel secure. Okay. Let's decorate our top hat. So we have our ribbon that had the glitter all over there that we used the fabric Mod Podge to try to secure that glitter on there so it does not come off. It also added a nice little element of being able to shape this ribbon and it will stay in place, which for the top hat doesn't matter, but for the scarf that will be nice because we can shape the scarf however we like. So we are just going to secure this guy, and I'm using my hot glue gun for that. You could use your craft glue or Gorilla Glue, whatever you have on hand. So let's just pull this guy. And we'll just put a little bit more right here at the edge. There we go. Excuse me. Excuse me if I sound gruff today. Hopefully this will be gone in a couple of days. So now we have a little ribbon on our hat. We are going to add maybe some holly and some berries that we've pulled off of a floral pick that I had. There we go. Let's maybe get a couple of leaves to use. Let's see what we want to do with these. Okay, there's the back. Could have maybe one go up, maybe one come out. That might work well. I want to bunch these together a little bit, so I'm going to put a little dab of glue and glue that piece just toward the middle. Ooh, that's warm. I'm going to add another little dab of glue on the back and glue this piece this direction just to add a little more interest to the way that the leaf looks. Okay. And then we will put this guy right here. Where's the back? Right there's the back. Kind of want his decoration on the side of the hat. So let's go ahead and glue you down. There we go. Let's do a second one. Again, we're just going to get a little shape to this leaf by folding it over. If you happen to have a leaf that has wire within it, it's probably going to be easier to shape. This is just an inexpensive fabric leaf. It probably was on a pick that I found at the Dollar Tree or something like that, I imagine. So let's do one more. Not really liking how that one. Let's fold this one over. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to pull these two together. Just get it to where you like the shape, whatever you're working with. There we go. I think I like that quite a bit better, especially for this bottom. I'm going to put him right there. May even, we'll see. We're not going to worry about that right now. Let's go ahead and get you glued onto the hat. There we go. Okay. And then I have these berries that I've pulled that we are going to add on to here. There is a little bit of white. These are little styrofoam berries, so I will go back and touch that up with some paint later. And I think we have a cute little hat for our snowman. Now we are going to decorate the body of our snowman, and we are going to start by adding a little scarf. I'm trying to find the side that I would like to use. Okay, here's the front. Here we are. We're just going to add a little tie in. I'm going to try to pull this snug as I can. This is going to be my snowman's midsection, his little mid area. And see what I was talking about with the Mod Podge fabric? It allows me to kind of lay that scarf the way that I want it, which I think is really kind of neat. Let's see if we can this over a little bit more. Okay, come on. Come on, little guy. Yes. There we go. Let's get that where we want it. I think that's pretty good for his little neckline. And I am going to add just a little dab of glue underneath here just to make sure that I don't think it's going to slide, but just to make sure that it doesn't slide down. I really don't think it's going to need a whole lot to keep it in place. So just a couple of dabs right here to secure that area. Okay, we can always go back and add more later if we like. So let's fix our scarf where it's laying kind of cute. There we go. And we have got several buttons we're going to add onto these guys. I've got these little polka dot red buttons, and you know, if you were doing a real snowman, you would have a mismatch. So I pulled several that don't necessarily match, but the colors should work well together. So we will maybe use the polka dots at the bottom of my snowman. Let's see. And maybe use some solid ones at the top. So let's add a couple of buttons to our snowman. Try to line those up as much as possible. Okay, oops. So we have our center. We have a little glue hanging off of him. Let me remove those spots. And we're just going to add a couple of more buttons. Maybe 3 because he's so long. Let's take a look at him. Yeah, we may just add a couple of more buttons down through here. 3, 2, 2, 3. What do you think? We'll just add 3 because these are the only 3 buttons like this I have, and I'm probably not going to have anything for a 1-button project. So let's just go ahead and glue these guys on. Two, 3. Okay, so to do the mouth, the way that I'm going to start lining that up is I'm going to put the middle rock first. I have 5 little pieces of coal for my mouth, so I am going to start with the one that goes in the center, and I can line that up right under his nose. So that I kind of have a middle point. Just put him back here where I can actually see him a little bit better. There we go. And we will work from there. Whenever I'm working with these little clay pieces that I put together, I did make sure that I had a little flat side so that whenever I went to glue them on the can, there would be a surface area to glue those guys. So we go one more little, let's bring it, oops, that one's got a little white spot on it, but I will go back and fix that just with a little dab of paint. And here we go, trying to space these somewhat the same. And the last one, which will go about right there. And we've got our little snowman face. Here's his hat. And I will tell you, I am probably, you could glue these all together so that you could keep them as just one piece that you have to pack up. But for me, it is more convenient to keep them separate and to, for packing purposes, and to just stack them as needed. So you can get the idea of what our little snowman, our little finished snowman looks like. So let's get a couple of pictures and we will finish up this video and move on to another project. In that the guy on the right, as you know, has the fabric top hat. He looks a little more vintagey. He's got a little more of the paint kind of rubbed off. And the fellow right here, as you can tell, you can probably tell, he's quite a bit more shiny, but he was completed with spray paint. So I had finished him a while back and was able to do him outside. His body has all been spray painted, but I think he's pretty cute as well. So two different looks. If you look at them side by side, you can actually tell the chalk paint has more of a vintage paint look as well, as whereas this guy is more bright white. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project. And if you would like to see more crafty content like this, I hope that you will choose to follow my page. If you have any comments or recommendations, I would love to see them below. And maybe if you're on Instagram, you can always follow me at The Practicing Crafter. So go and create something fun. And we will get together again soon. Bye.